welcome back to the Free Your Authenticity podcast. I'm your host, Chrissy Datu, also known as datu.intuition on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. I know it's been a minute since I've done a podcast episode. My apologies. I have been in perfectionism mode, as I always am, and I think I've just been really hard on myself over like making sure it's perfect and making sure to be more concise and all that because I tend to be a yapper. But as you can tell, I'm probably stumbling over my words right now, but I'm going to do a little exercise for myself and just let it be imperfect, do it one take, and just go with whatever ends up coming out. So here we go. In today's episode, I want to talk about why I decided to name this episode Free Your Authenticity. Freedom and authenticity are both words that have really helped me on my healing journey and my spiritual journey. But even if you're not spiritual, I just feel like those two words are really good grounding words to help you move forward in life. I feel like ultimately it's the two words that we really want to achieve. I feel like in anything that we want, whenever we feel like our lives aren't where we want to be, we're really just seeking freedom and authenticity, right? I mean, think about it. If you hate the job that you have, most of the reasons that you hate it is probably because you feel really restricted, AKA lacking freedom, and because you have to put on this act and you don't get to be yourself at work. You have to bite your tongue and not say everything that's on your mind, which, yes, there's a certain level of professionalism, but there's also a level of feeling like you need to be fake in order to keep your status or to maintain a certain image that you feel you need to uphold. That is you not being in your authenticity. So I feel like we always crave that. And this is why we thrive best when we are in environments where we feel like we can be ourselves, where we get to be most free. So I feel like those are my two grounding words in my life. And I feel like those are the two words that I really want to inspire people to embody in their life as well. If you know me in real life, you know that I'm always trying to push people to do things that feel most authentically aligned with them. And I'm always trying to encourage people to tap into freedom in whichever ways that they can. Obviously, not everybody is blessed to be able to just quit their job and go travel the world, right? But there are little things that you can do to obtain that freedom and authenticity. And that's what I'm here for. That's what I really want to help you with. So that is the whole reason, actually, why I wanted to start this podcast. But I hope that you'll keep an open mind because I am trying to have this podcast be something that helps as many people as possible, whether you're a spiritual person or not. I'm not the type of person who's ever trying to pressure you into believing what I believe in. I just ask that if you feel aligned with my energy and you like my vibe and you're interested in learning something new, or if you are somebody who's spiritual and you just want to learn more, then I hope that you will just keep an open mind listening to this podcast. And if you can't and you think that everything I'm saying is a little bullshit, then you don't have to listen to my podcast, and that's totally fine. So I think where I wanted to start with this is I wanted to really talk about how you can tap into your freedom and authenticity. And I think the best way that I could explain how this works is through a metaphor that I actually was talking about with my best friend a couple of months ago when I said I would do this podcast, but it's fine. We're not perfect. It's all good. That's my authentic self. Extremely imperfect and trying to always be perfect. That's just me. We were talking about this example with The Wizard of Oz. In the movie The Wizard of Oz, the whole point of that journey going down that yellow brick road was not to reach the actual destination. It was all about the actual journey of walking down the yellow brick road. I know that that is triggering for some people. Trust me, it triggers me too. I really hate this concept of it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. Because obviously when you're not happy with where you're at, all you want is to get to the destination. And I totally get that. But sometimes by doing that, you are robbing yourself of the lessons that you're meant to learn along the way. You're robbing yourself of the people that you could be meeting. You're just missing the whole point. I know that there's a lot of people out there trying to sell you shortcuts on how to get somewhere faster. And yes, there are shortcuts. There definitely are. I'm not going to lie to you. Like manifestation is one of them. Sometimes when you try to manifest something sooner than it's meant to come into your life, you're bypassing a lot of the lessons that you need to learn to be able to heal those parts of you that are hindering you from getting it in the first place. People that end up manifesting things before they were ready to receive it come to find that they end up not feeling like it's giving them the satisfaction that they thought it would give them. And I think that you have probably experienced this at some point in your life. Like, think about a time when you thought that by getting something, you were going to be happy. For example, if you were like, once I quit my job, I'll be able to have all the time in the world. This is literally how it happened for me. So I'll use myself as an example. I was so unhappy when I was working at my 9 to 5 job. I really thought that once I left my 9 to 5 job, it was going to be the one thing that freed me from being able to finally be myself, to finally do what I really wanted to do. And guess fucking what? It was not. Did it help a lot? Hell yeah. I feel so much more free. The freedom part, yes, I definitely have tapped into that. The authentic part, still working on it. And if I'm being honest, leaving my 9 to 5 job did not solve all my problems like I thought it would. I genuinely thought that when I left my 9 to 5 job, life was going to get so much easier. I thought that I wouldn't have anything to worry about. I wouldn't have any problems. I thought that all of my dreams and the dream life that I was desiring and manifesting was going to fall into my lap and everything was going to be perfectly fine. And that was not the case. There's a lot that I still need to work on when it comes to achieving my dreams. And I realized that the job that I was constantly blaming for why I wasn't where I wanted to be at was not actually the thing stopping me from achieving everything that I desired. It was me. Annoying, I know, but it is true. I've come to realize that there's a lot of things that I haven't healed from yet. And I've been working on those the past few months, and I've started to notice more rewards start to come in as I've worked on those parts of myself. But when I was trying to ignore it and bypass it by trying to be really positive and do all the self-care and post the videos and do all the action steps that I felt I needed to do to achieve my dreams, that wasn't working. I still felt like I was being blocked from it. And that's because I wasn't learning the lessons that I wanted to learn. Or that I was needing to learn. I was so focused on the destination that I was ignoring all of the signs and all of the lessons that my guides were trying to send me because it was too painful. We've all been there, right? I think a lot of us choose to not heal. We choose to not go to therapy. We choose to not read the self-help books. We choose to not see that life coach or whatever because we're like, nah, I don't need to do that. I'm over it. I can just, I could just work really hard and I'm going to get everything I want. Sure, you definitely will. I have achieved so much in my life just by taking a lot of action. There comes a point where once you've exhausted all the action you could possibly take, you realize that if you haven't worked on yourself and you haven't allowed yourself to learn the lessons that you were meant to learn, it's not even gonna mean that much to you. You probably have experienced this if you're the type of person who likes to achieve a lot of things and then when you get it, you realize you just want the next thing. That's because you haven't actually dug deeper and allowed yourself to reflect on those things that are trying to heal within you so that you can actually appreciate it. Because honestly, being happy and being at peace and feeling like you're free and authentic to yourself, that's really just a state of mind and a state of being. It has nothing to do with anything external. Going back to the Wizard of Oz example, the whole point of that movie was all of these characters wanted to embark on this journey down the yellow brick road to meet the Wizard of Oz. And they thought that the Wizard of Oz was going to solve all of their problems. And guess what? When they got there, he was a fraud, which just goes to show that maybe the destination is false. Like maybe the whole idea that there's this finish line or this destination that we have to get to isn't even true. My best friend tells me a lot that her therapist tells her, what if there isn't a destination? What if it really is just the journey? And whenever we talk about it, we're like, God, I hate that. I hate the idea of that. Like huge eye roll. But it's true. Like, what if there really isn't a destination? Or what if the whole point really just is not to get to the destination? It's just to be on this continuous journey. And that's the point of life. And what did the characters in the movie learn on that journey? They learned about friendship. They learned about compassion. They learned how to be there for each other. They learned how to resolve conflict. They learned how to deal with obstacles that came their way, like the Wicked Witch. And when they got to the wizard, they realized that everything that they were seeking was something that they always had within them. Like they had it with them the whole time. The lion, who was so scared, always had courage, and he proved that by going on the yellow brick road journey. The Tin Man wanted a heart, and he showed that he had heart by being really compassionate towards his friends on the journey down the yellow brick road. The Scarecrow wanted to have a brain so that he could be smarter, but he proved his intellect throughout the way he resolved all of those obstacles that they faced on the journey of the yellow brick road. Do you see what I'm saying? And to tie it back to the whole freedom and authenticity theme, I feel like what I've realized is that whole journey, or the yellow brick road, so to speak, that you are going on in life is the journey to your most free and authentic self. And you unlock that little by little as you learn the lessons, as you face your demons, as you do the things that scare you, as you meet people along the way who change your life, whether it's in a positive or negative way. Everybody that comes into your life serves a purpose. So I hope that coming out of this episode, you learn to look at life a little bit differently, or at least have an open mind to pay attention to these things. I know it's not easy, and I know that the concept of this is a lot easier said than done. But I think that if you were at least open to this idea that you have everything that you need within you, and that there's a lot to be enjoyed in the journey itself, then I think that you'll start enjoying your life a lot more. And then when you enjoy your life more, that's when more abundance rolls in. That's when you receive more rewards. That's when all of your dreams start to come to life. That's when you start to become the version of yourself that you've always wanted to be. That's when your manifestations can finally come to fruition. And it's because you're not so desperate for it anymore. Anyways, this episode was all over the place. Thank you for listening. I really appreciate it. And if you liked this episode, please make sure that you rate it. I think you could rate it on Spotify and Apple Podcast. And if you want more content from me, then make sure that you're following me on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.